Good morning, Facebook. It's Jillian. So, yeah, yesterday I was writing some stuff about wordsmithing or words and decoding the English language. And when you slow down, like when I slow down to really decode the English language, you'll see hidden messages, but they're not so hidden, but they are because humans have become so autopilot that they don't even know the weight of what those words have and how they shape your life. Okay. And so it's like when I talked about lazy speakers and lazy listeners, you know, it's very easy to have an opinion and have that opinion hold so much weight when it really shouldn't. It's like we've put so much weight on opinions because we don't know the difference between fact and opinion and truth. And so I've been decoding facts, opinions, and truths. Okay, facts are objectivity. Facts are things like nouns and verbs. This is a glass with water. Okay, this is a glass with water. That's not very exciting. What makes it exciting is when someone has a perception of the water and of the glass. That's when they add adjectives or adverbs. There's too much water. Well, why is there too much water? Because it shouldn't be, full like this. And so, when people are writing storybooks, when they're writing texts, when they're writing journals, when they're writing blogs and articles, the facts are not very exciting. So facts are nouns and verbs, and then the perceptions are the adverbs and the adjectives. Those are the adjectives describing the verbs. That's an adverb. And an adjective is a describing word. It's like, like the color blue. The color blue is an adjective. Well, if somebody has, if they're colorblind, well, that color is not going to be blue. It's going to be gray to them. Okay. So that's why words like parts of speech and grammar are so important to understand. And that's when I was counting out, when I was reading, lay down, sugar. When I was reading, just, an article or a paragraph, and I counted out like 16 words and all of that. And then like 5 of them were adjectives. I'm just like, oh my God, that's 33%. Of those words are adjectives. This is a total perception. And that's marketing. Okay? And that's marketing. So it's like words create worlds and they shape your reality and they create biochemistry. Well, how do words create biochemistry? Because the words have so much weight and so much meaning. And then you have PTSD or pain or visceral gut reactions around words. And then that's what gets people to move. Okay. And so it's, so my next book, I'm going to be going through an English lesson. Okay. I'm going to explain some of the parts of speech. And when you read an article and you actually break down every single word and you find out, oh, what is too much? Too much is an adjective or an adverb. An adverb. Okay, or an adjective. I have it written somewhere. And so you realize that when someone says, oh, there's too much salt, oh, there's too little water, too much water, that's a perception based upon intention. So when someone says salt kills, well, that's a statement that is both, it's a fact, salt kills, but who does it kill and what does it kill? So when it says salt kills, salt can kill worms. When you take salt and you sprinkle it on a worm, it can kill a very small organism. Okay? Not every organism can handle high salinity. But luckily we humans, we're halophiles, so we can handle high salinity and we drink water. But when someone just says a statement, salt kills, okay, yeah, that may be a fact, but then you got to look at the context. We really need more information. What does salt kill? How is it being used? Why is it being used? And so when you start because you can't write just an article, salt kills. That won't sell. Because people are like, well, why are you saying this? What's the point? So then when a journalist says, okay, salt kills as the heading, people are intrigued to figure out where their perspective is. And then you start counting out the adjectives and the adverbs, and you count out some of the facts like nouns and verbs, and you look at how the adjectives are describing these nouns and verbs, and then you realize you're reading somebody else's perception. And yes, you're seeing my dresser, which has a lot of clothes on it, so whatever. But what I'm saying is understanding how to decode the English language. Because if you were to believe that person's perception that salt kills, and then you have a totally low sodium diet, okay, so you're going to believe this person. They have a low sodium diet. You're on a bunch of prescription drugs. You're on a bunch of medications. You're on a bunch of stuff. That's going to shape your biochemistry to where you're not going to live very long, because the body needs a lot of salt. It needs a lot of water. It needs a lot of nutrition. And it needs a lot of nutrients and minerals, okay, which is, nutrition. And so words can shape worlds. Words can dictate your biochemistry. Now, with the whole J juice, we're not using J juice in lieu of anything. J juice can be used in conjunction with everything, because J juice is not about programming people into a particular belief system. That's why J juice is something where, I have everything laid out for you in my business page, where it has all the different videos to watch, like 5 videos. It has a little blurb about salt fermentation. It's an ancient recipe. It has a blurb about sugar, and maybe some other things about why people die. They die from antibodies, a lot of antibodies, and as well as the mechanisms of the lungs when it doesn't get enough air because of air cut off for whatever reason. And it could be because of too much mucus, which is antibodies, okay? So there are reasons why people die, and it's not what people's perceptions are out there who are into demonizing people, places, and things and elements. Everything is about balance. So Jilly Juice is about reprogramming the biochemistry, but you have to kind of sort of reprogram your brain a little bit to be able to then understand new words and new contexts that are really actually connected to all the other contexts out there. But for you to change your viewpoints on the world, that you don't have to die, okay? There is indefinite life possible, but you want proof, you have to do the work. You actually have to do the J juice. You have to understand the chemistry. So it's not even just my perception that people don't have to die, because that is a perception, right? It's not a truth for everybody, because let me tell you, some of you want to die. Some of you would rather die. You look forward to dying. That's something that you've been taught. So for you to get proof that J juice is about indefinite life, you have to understand the science, the laws. And that has to do with reading about facts. What is prostaglandins? Those are the pain hormones that people are suppressing through antibiotics. What are antibiotics? They're anti-life. They're anti your microbiome. They will actually shorten your telomeres. And so then you realize that every single sentence in the medical directives are all about giving you facts like, yes, you do have antibodies. Yes, you do have proteins. Yes, you do have a microbiome, which is made up of viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, and fungus and bacteria. But then they characterize pain as something bad. And if you have pain, therefore you should be going to our remedies, our urgent care. Urgent is an adjective. See, they're creating urgency when you tell you, oh yeah, when you have lower back pain, we'll tell you the common causes of lower back pain, and how those symptoms, some symptoms may require urgent care. And so common causes, that's still an adjective, because that's arguable. That's someone's perception trying to lead you into a solution. And so when you actually break down some of the medical information sites where they have a problem And then this is their solution. You break it down to actual syntax of the English language, you realize that there's a lot of adverbs, a lot of adjectives in that whole sentence. There's a few facts, which are verbs and nouns, but there's a lot of adjectives, a lot of adverbs. Oh, too much, too little. Oh, common causes and other types of perspective, perception-based type writing. And so that's the beauty of marketing. That's the wordsmithing out there that drives people's biochemistries to be completely crappy. Just look around you. Look at your friends and family. Cancer, disease, chronic illness, obesity, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, losing your hair. I mean, you name it. Everybody has something like that because they've been reading these texts, these medical journals, these medical directives to where, you have cardiovascular issues, but you're applying the wrong chemistry. But they're telling you, oh, you have to go to the medical industry to handle your symptoms. And then here's an antibiotic, an anti-life thing. And so that's how words can shape biochemistries because of the hidden directives. They're not so hidden, but they are to some people because they're on automatic pilot, because they've been trained by the system with visceral gut reactions, which is the pain hormone, that when you feel pain, that's something to stop right away. Well, first of all, why do you have pain to begin with? Well, you're going to make that correlation equals causation. Well, I was hit by this ball. Well, yeah, okay, that would be easy. When you're hit by a ball and you have pain, that's a trauma to the body, and the body has to heal from that. But let's say you had no trauma like that out there, but you feel a pain inside. That's when you go get a diagnosis, and they tell you what that correlation equals causation, and they start giving you drugs and antibiotics and procedures, taking out organs, taking out all different things in your system, essentially cutting you up until there's nothing left. And then your perception of what you're supposed to do to heal is to stay away from this food, that food, the other food, take these drugs, and then you're further destroying yourself over time. And so that's how words and diagnoses and prescriptions and all these different things shape biochemistry, because you take it for gospel. You don't realize that it's someone else's perception of your situation, because doctors practice medicine. Holistic professionals, naturopathics, homeopathics practice medicine or practice herbs. They practice elements, and they overwhelm the system with elements that cause more imbalances. So all you're getting is someone's perception. You're not getting true fact. True fact is your prostaglandins. That is a healing hormone. And then you need to eat food. And then right now you've been, you have so many predispositions that you're going to have to heal and seal so you can actually absorb the food that you're taking in. See, I see people, doing the juicing. I'm watching these Real Housewives, New York City, and they're all into this health, and you can just see this generational, messed upness in these families. And they're juicing all their fruits and vegetables. And I'm just like, what's the point of destroying a fruit and vegetable where you're throwing away 90% of that fruit and vegetable, because all the pulp is going into the sink, and they're taking the juice, they're drinking it, but they have leaky gut, so it's not even being absorbed by the system. So you're wasting it, and they're pooping it out, and you're peeing it out, and the body isn't deriving any kind of benefit. They're not getting the fiber. They're just getting the juice that's really not doing much for them. They're on a low sodium diet because they have heart disease in their family. And you see these people who are on these different diets and doing all these different health stuff, getting plastic surgery. They're aging and degrading. They're losing their hair. They have all these health issues. And you're like, I'm taking health advice from you, and your parents are aging and degrading, and you're saying that you have some kind of handle on health. That's where the disconnect, that's where the misalignment of the body, mind, and spirit represent itself. When you're taking health advice, you're taking financial advice from people who have major issues in their finances, they have major issues in their health, any kind of advice from anyone that is aging and degrading, I would be really, 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 really reticent to take any kind of advice from anybody in any industry out there. Because the very nature of the industries out there is about rising and falling. And then Jilly Juice is about just homeostasis, a very even balance. The pendulum does not swing the other direction. Now we adapt And sometimes our emotions get a little bit overwhelmed because, yes, I was never faced with something like this riot thing. So I had emotions that were like all over the place, of which then Facebook noticed and told me, you need to take a break for 24 hours. And so there is censorship on Facebook because words create worlds. Words shape people. Words definitely create not only division, but people to do really stupid things. And so Facebook and social media have a responsibility not to allow people's emotions go freaking way off into the, to the another hemisphere to where it causes harm in the actual physical community. So actually, I understand censorship, and I don't disagree with it. I actually am fine with it because it really can mess up people when they are so pissed off at the system, and then they adopt a total different reality that is really no different than the system's reality, but it's just the complete opposite from one extreme to the other, and they're doing just as much damage, if not more. So Facebook has a responsibility not to create such extreme people, but they still do, because we can't stop everyone from having very extreme realities and then being infectious to other people. So, when I'm have my hand slapped by Facebook, I realized, okay, my emotions were way out of control and I need to get control of them because I was talking about guns and whatever. And in a context that was not peaceful, but then it was my reaction to whatever was going on. That's not a justification, because then what happens is that gets viral and then people are hurting each other physically, in their realities. And so we don't want that either. Okay, so it is a balance. Facebook has a balance. The government has to have a balance. You all have to have a balance. You have to understand that, everything is not about the extremes of death and reproduction. It doesn't have to be that way, but those are the extremes in our society. But words shape those realities. And so when I say, words can confine you and they also can set you free, you've got to learn how to speak a different language. You got to, not even so much a different language, learn how to speak different words. There's no bucket list. There's a life list. Don't say that retirement is at this age and then, you live to be this age and then you only work to be, for this many years and enjoy this many years. I mean, there's so much programming going on Facebook that I have to go and I have to cross out numbers. So you're not living in that limited capacity of like, oh, you're only going to live to be 78. Well, yeah, with your biochemistry and who you're listening to and who you're taking cues from, of course you're going to be living to only 78 because that is the programming you bought into by your choice. And so now Jelly Juice offers you a different programming. Now, I'm not trying to program you. I'm saying, hey, Jelly Juice is food. We don't have to die. And you will find out your journey, what it is you have to deal with. And that's pretty much it. Because if I didn't say anything at all, then you wouldn't know I exist. So there has to be some kind of speaking something into existence. But I'm not micromanaging you, which the system does. The system micromanages you ever since you're a child. You have parents that micromanage you. You have, authority micromanage you. And at some point, you're going to have to, extricate yourself from authority in some way. Not all of authority, but some of authority. So you're not being micromanaged. And then you start managing yourself. And then, wow, a whole new different world appears. That's the beauty of Jelly Juice. That's the beauty of Jelly Juice, where you're not being micromanaged at every facet of your life. Because when you are having somebody in your ear 24/7, when you're calling your doctor every single day because you want to know this, this, and that, they are micromanaging you and you are choosing that. When you're calling somebody that does not believe in your belief system and they're undermining you with little quips and little comments, that is micromanaging you from, an indirect level or direct level, and you're inviting that in. So, you all have choices. And so I'm just trying to give you to understand syntax of speech, syntax of words. So that's what my next book is going to be about. The name is going to be Breathing in Revolution, Breathing Out Evolution, where you can convert other people's revolutions and then you breathe out, exhale evolution, and you help evolve people, not feed into their revolutions, the revolving door. And so I asked my friend to see if she can do like an illustration of that, something very simple, where you're breathing out evolution, breathing in revolution. And that's the essence of Jelly Juice. You take in your environment, you breathe it in, and then you convert it to something that you want to see. That's the essence of Jilly Juice. Some people cannot handle it. Other people totally get with it, understand it. The ones that can't handle it were never meant to be. They were not meant to be here in the future. They're meant to be only here for 78 years, the way they intended, and that's it. And it's tough to watch because some of them are very close to me. But it is what it is. The programming runs deep. So, anyways, you guys have a good day. I'm going to do my thing. My hubby's home. And since all of this COVID stuff is still existing, we took a break from it and had some riots. And now we have to go back to the COVID again. So I'm like, oh my lordy. So anyways, you guys have a good day, and just think about, just Google what adjectives are, Google what fact is, Google what truth is. Truth is a judgment, fact is an objectivity, truth is subjectivity, perception is subjectivity. And when you have subjectivity all over, you're going to have people in their little functional silos not cross-functionally communicating on a very deep level. And that is the very essence of the educational system. And that is who I would say has perpetrated the division in our society, is the educational system. And then the media, is into that, feeds into that, as well as the medical holistic system. So just understand where it all originates from, and then you can reprogram yourself if you want. Okay, bye.